Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're diving into something that's taking AI from just a smart conversationalist to an autonomous doer. We're talking about LLM agents. You know, we've all gotten pretty used to AIs that can chat with us, write an email, or, answer a random question. But what if they could actually do things? What if they could take a goal you give them and just run with it, executing tasks across different apps and systems all on their own?
And that right there is the fundamental shift we're talking about. A traditional chatbot interaction is pretty much one and done. You ask a question, it gives you an answer. An LLM agent, though, is more like a persistent partner. It gets the big picture, your final goal, and then it autonomously breaks that down and works through all the steps to actually get it done.
So here's our game plan for today. We're going to start with the basics, then get into the core logic that really makes these agents tick. We'll look at the huge breakthrough that unlocked their potential, see how developers are making them even smarter, check out the tools you can use to build them, and finally, we'll take a peek into the autonomous future they're busy creating.
All right, let's jump right in. First up, let's clearly define what it means to go from an AI that just knows a bunch of stuff to one that actually does a bunch of stuff. Okay, so here's the main idea. Think of a standard LLM as this brilliant brain just floating in a jar. It has all this knowledge, but no way to act on it. An agent, on the other hand, gives that brain hands and eyes. It can use tools, connect to other software using what are called APIs, which are kind of like digital messengers, and interact with all sorts of environments to accomplish real-world tasks. So how does an agent really work? I mean, when you give it a complex goal like, hey, plan my entire trip to Tokyo, what is actually happening under the hood?
It really all boils down to this super powerful loop. First, it thinks, it reasons, and it plans out the steps. Then, it acts. It uses tools like a flight booking website or a hotel API, and then, this is the crucial part, it observes the result, remembers what just happened, and adapts its plan for the next step. And it just keeps repeating that loop until the job is done.
And this simple little loop, it unlocks some seriously incredible power. For that Tokyo trip example, it gives the agent the sequential reasoning to build an itinerary, the ability to use different tools to book the right flight and hotel, and the contextual memory to keep your preferences and budget in mind the whole time.
Now for the big aha moment. A really groundbreaking paper introduced a framework called React. And honestly, it's the secret sauce behind today's best agents. It was inspired by something super simple and powerful, the way humans operate. We think, then we act, then we see what happens, and then we think again.
So, to test out different approaches, researchers came up with this surprisingly tricky question, right? It's not something you can just Google easily. It requires understanding context, programs, and how different devices are compatible.
And the results you see here are just fascinating. A standard prompt? Failed. A chain of thought prompt, where the AI thinks out loud to reason through the problem? That also failed, because it couldn't actually do anything. An act-only prompt? Failed too, because it was just acting without a plan. It was only the React framework, which combines reasoning and acting in that powerful loop, that actually succeeded.
This combination, this synergy, that is the whole secret sauce. You see, an agent that only thinks is just a philosopher. An agent that only acts is like a bull in a china shop. But an agent that can reason about its next move, take that action, and then learn from the result, well, that's where the magic really happens.
Okay, so we've got the core concept down, but actually building an agent that's smart, efficient, and, reliable, that presents a whole new set of challenges. Let's take a look at how developers are tackling them.
One of the biggest hurdles is just getting the agent to pick the right tool for the job. Developers get around this by giving it clear context, writing really precise descriptions for what each tool does, and even using techniques like RAG, which is kind of like giving the AI an open book test to find the best tool. And crucially, they also have to teach it when it's better not to use a tool at all.
And to keep the agent from going off the rails, developers use something called decomposition, which is just a fancy way of saying they break big problems down into smaller, manageable steps. They also run evals, which are basically performance tests for the AI, making sure its logic is solid and its actions are efficient. This is all fantastic in theory, but what happens when you actually want to build one of these things? Let's look at the toolkit developers are using, and where these agents are already making a real impact today. This slide gives you a great lay of the land. For total control and deep customization, developers often go for powerful frameworks like LangChain. For simpler, more autonomous, set-it-and-forget-it type tasks, there's AutoGPT.
If your agent needs to dig through a lot of your own private data, LlamaIndex is the go-to. And for just playing around and experimenting with basic agent ideas, Baby AGI is a fantastic starting point.
And hey, this isn't science fiction anymore. These agents are already out there. They're powering the customer service bot that can actually solve your unique problem instead of just reading from a script. They're coordinating complex workflows inside businesses, acting as super-powered personal assistants that can manage your calendar and book your dinner reservations, and they're doing deep data analysis that would take a human analyst days to complete.
All right, let's zoom all the way out. What does this huge shift towards autonomous AI really mean for the future? This is such a powerful example of what's coming. Right now, if you want to explore complex data, you probably need a data scientist. Soon, an AI agent could just be your personal data analyst. This isn't just about getting access to information, it's about giving everyone the power to understand it and act on it. Just imagine agents speeding up scientific research by running experiments and analyzing the results 24/7. This leap from passive knowledge to active execution, it's a massive, fundamental change. We're building tools that don't just find information for us, they take action on our behalf. And that leaves us with the most exciting question of all. Now that AI can both reason and act, what problems are we going to ask it to solve next?